Hey everyone, I'm Amy Connell. Thanks for tuning in to Lessons to My Teenage Self, a Christ-centered, diet culture-free show about all things health for teen girls. This is the shortcut you need to thrive in your physical, mental, and spiritual health. As a personal trainer and nutrition coach, I'm passionate about empowering you to find your best version of health. Each week, we dig into one topic that I wish I had known as a teen. When I think back to my time in high school and college, I'm not sure that I ever heard the term listen to your body. In fact, I think I can say now I was somewhat disembodied. I did not realize how much communication my body was giving me, whether it was about what was going on physically or even mentally or emotionally. And as I have been learning, I am learning more about what this means. Listening to your body can mean a whole lot of different things. So there's no way that I can cover all of them. And if I'm totally honest, I probably am not even aware of all of them. As we are learning more about the relationship between the mind and the body, we are learning more. And I can tell as I am paying more attention to my body that my body does communicate with me, but it kind of takes some intentionality. It takes some paying attention. And when I feel something somewhere, it takes effort to stop and think, what does this mean? And making those connections. Today, I wanted to just give you some high-level things to consider that when this happens, it may be your body trying to communicate with you because, like I said, I never really thought about this. So these are in no particular order, but I think that they are all worth mentioning. So let's go ahead and dig in to these 10 ways your body may be trying to communicate with you, or 10 ways to listen to your body. Number one is, what was your sleep quality like? Now, there's a pretty good chance that you and I are totally on the same page of like, yes, we need sleep. I need sleep. But sometimes sleep is a little harder to come by than we wish it was. That can often be an indication of your body and how well it's functioning. So let me just kind of give you a few things to think about in terms of like what it means to sleep well. How are you feeling when you wake up? Like, are you refreshed? And I would say this, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are feeling refreshed and ready to go like the minute you wake up in minute one. I am just thinking back to last night. I got a really good night's sleep. I got the amount of sleep that my body typically needs. And I was dragging my feet out of bed. I just wanted to stay there a few more minutes. But then by the time I got to the kitchen and used the restroom and turned on my coffee, like I was kind of okay. So just because you don't wake up like perfectly ready and ready to jump out of bed, that doesn't mean that you didn't get enough sleep. But like within the first maybe 5-10 minutes, how are you feeling? So that's how I would define feeling refreshed upon awakening. I don't know if that's the official definition, but that's kind of how I think. Maybe it is that you are starting to wake up without an alarm, or you're just kind of starting to stir. If your alarm is set to go off at 6:30 and you find yourself maybe waking up at 6:10 and then you roll over and go back to sleep, and then you kind of you roll over and look at the clock and it's 6:21 and you're like, oh, I get a few more minutes. Well, that's your body starting to gently wake up. That's a great thing. Another thing to consider is, how are your energy levels throughout the day? If you are crashing maybe mid-morning, mid-afternoon, it might mean that you haven't slept well. And I think another thing to consider is, how's our mood? How are our emotions? I don't know about you, but when I get really tired, I get really weepy, period. And I'm not able to deal with just even minor stresses. So those are some things to consider if you are not sleeping well. And if you're thinking, well, Amy, okay, but what do I do with that? What I would love for you to do is go back to episode 11, the episode titled Sleep Better Tonight with These Sleep Well Tactics. So Sleep Well is an acronym that I use to give you some ideas to sleep better. And this is also a chapter in my book for teen girls called Your Core Strength. You can get Your Core Strength wherever you want. I've got a link in the show notes, but pretty much wherever books are sold, you can check that out. So sleep quality is number one on our list of how to listen to your body. The second way you can listen to your body is pay attention to your either athletic or fitness performance. You don't have to be an athlete to move. And in fact, I would say we are all athletes. We all have these movable bodies where we can move in a way that we love to. However, if we find that we are constantly sore, it may mean a couple things. It may mean that you need to have more recovery time. Maybe you need some more protein in your diet. And if you would like to learn a little bit more about protein, you can go back to the episode just a couple weeks ago called How Much Protein Do I Need? And I will kind of give you a little bit of guidance with that. It may mean that you just need to have more food in general, particularly if you are really active. If you are an athlete who has 2-a-days or you have 2-hour athletic sessions, you probably need to eat more. And that is really important to listen to your body. So these are all just different things to consider if you find that you are consistently sore, if you are just feeling like you're walking around in a state of fatigue athletically, maybe you just don't have enough in you. Another option or another thing that may be contributing to that is your hydration. Are you drinking enough? Are you having enough sodium in your diet and electrolytes to be able to get your body and your fluids moving the way that we want to? So think about, how is your body moving? How is your performance? Is there anything that you might need to tweak to improve your performance? Also, if you are getting injured a lot, that is also a sign that you may need more recovery. It may mean that you need to strengthen some other muscles. I talk about this in Your Core Strength about the mini muscles, and I actually even give you a workout link that you can go to help protect your knees. So there's a lot of different things in here, but what I'm trying to do is just give you some things to pay attention to, that it's your body trying to communicate with you, not just that it's an inconvenience. Let's talk about brain fog, number 3. This also can come from different things. It can come from our sleep. Maybe it's because we haven't had enough variety in our diet. I know it can be so easy to just get in the habit of having the same thing for breakfast and it's the same thing for lunch. And then maybe dinner is a little different, or if dinner is on the go and you're pulling stuff in from your window, and you're going through the drive-through, it may be that we're having a lot of the same thing, and maybe adding some variety and seeing if you can add some fruits or maybe some vegetables that are nutrient dense and have some of these micronutrients in it that will help our brain thrive. That might be something that can help with your brain fog. Your brain may be saying, oh man, I just can't think clearly, and it's because I haven't had the variety. Or maybe it's I haven't had enough to eat. That might be something else. Another thing might be, again, back to hydration. And I didn't really mean for this to sound like such an advertisement for Your Core Strength, but I also have a chapter in Your Core Strength called How Can I Drink More Water? Some people just don't like water. I have someone in my family like this, and so we have to get kind of creative with how they can have more water. Maybe a foggy brain just means you need to get moving a little. You got to get your blood flowing. And I'm not saying go on a 5-mile run, but maybe just walk down to the end of the street and back, or take your dog on a walk, or maybe turn on some music and dance and just kind of get some blood flowing, because when your blood is flowing throughout your body, it's also flowing to your brain. And so maybe it just kind of needs a little bit of a natural stimulant. Unfortunately, I don't think our coffees and our energy drinks and things things like that are going to necessarily be the best thing. And if we have caffeine too late, then that can actually impact our sleep, which then we wake up tired and we have brain fog and like everything repeats. So I don't know that caffeine is really the best answer when we have brain fog, especially if it is, I would say, at least like early afternoon and beyond. And I have an episode 10, called A Caffeine Crash Course in How to Enjoy Without Impacting Your Sleep. You can go tune into that if you would like some more information on caffeine. Number 4 is your waist. Okay, you're just going to have to bear with me for a second. Let's talk about your poop and your pee. And one thing you may not know about me is I have 2 sons and a husband. And of all 3 of these men in my house, I have the biggest potty humor. Like, I am the one who will laugh at a poop joke. So I have no problem talking about this kind of stuff. And depending on your family dynamics, maybe you talk about it, maybe you don't. But boy, I tell you what, your waste, your poop can tell you so much. There is something out there that, this is optional homework if you want it. Do a little search. It's called the Bristol, Bristol stool chart. And this gives you an idea of what your poop may be trying to communicate with you. So if it is like super, super liquid, then that is like severe diarrhea. And then it kind of goes through it. But let me tell you, one common thing I hear from teen girls and their moms is, my daughter is constipated and she's having such a hard time pooping. And really that can come down to 3 things. So if you are having like those plop, 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 if you are pooping at all, then you may be constipated. And here are, I would say, the 3 primary things that you can do to help constipation. Number 1, drink more water. Number 2, have more fiber in your diet. So those are things like eating plants, just in general. Your fruits, your vegetables, your whole grains, your beans. It pretty much, if it's a plant, it has fiber in it. And I will say plants like in the way that they came. So I'm not talking about like your veggie straws. Those aren't going to keep the fiber in them. So when I say plants, I mean like eating them in the state in which they were grown. And then the other thing too, if you are having some constipation, I think it's worth asking yourself if you are eating enough. If you're not eating enough, then you're not going to have that excess waste and it's not going to flow through you the way that your body is designed to have that. So that's another thing to think about is, are you having enough food in general? But those are the 3 things that I would say in terms of your waste with having plop, 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 plop with your constipation. If you're having the other end, my dad used to call it poop like a goose, because when I was in college, I went to Oklahoma State University and I would walk past a pond every day from where I lived to the university. And there were all of these Canadian geese, and these geese would poop. And it's almost like if you were to squeeze ketchup. So like, that's what, which is terrible. I hope I'm not grossing you out, but like pooping like a goose, not okay. Normally it means that there's something that maybe you're a little more sensitive to. Maybe you're having something that your body doesn't really like. Again, that's trying to tell you something. So pay attention. What is your body trying to tell you? Let's move on to number 5, and that goes along with your waste, and that is gassiness. If you find you are gassy all the time after eating a particular type of food, that may be your body saying, hey, this doesn't really make me feel the best, or that I'm not functioning great with this. I have learned over time that there are some foods that make me really gassy, and when I take them out of my diet, I'm actually a lot better. And I will say some people are more susceptible to just being gassy. So if you are really, really gassy, that doesn't necessarily mean there's a problem, but it's something to just pay attention to. It also may be that you're eating really fast and you're swallowing a lot of air as you eat. So it may not be what you're eating, but it might just be that it's an invitation to slow down, chew your food a bit more, and just take everything down a notch so we're not swallowing so much air. Let's recap these first 5, and I am going to come back next week and give you the next 5, so that way I am not talking your ear off. The first 5 are number 1, sleep quality, number 2, athletic or fitness performance, number 3, brain fog, number 4, waist, and number 5, gassiness. Next week, I will come back and give you the final 5 ways that you can listen to your body. So be sure to come back then. Okay, that's all for today. Take today's lesson and go out there and live the life God has for you and your amazing original body. Thanks for tuning in today. Do you have a question you would like answered here on the Lessons to My Teenage Self podcast? If so, go to the show notes where you will see an anonymous form you can fill out, and that question may be answered here on the show. Also, if this show is valuable to you, could you do one of 2 things that are enormously valuable to me? Number 1, share it with a friend. Just take a screenshot, send it to her, or you can go to the show and send it straight from there. Also, if you can provide a rating and review, particularly if you listen to your podcast in Apple Podcasts. Thanks again, and see you next time.